Yeah, real good, real calm, real solid. I mean, the one goes through him, but it's a bang bang play, so it's really quick. But he was, yeah, he seemed real calm, right? We talk about Cam being calm and relaxed back there and helps our group calm down, and Kaapo did the same thing here tonight.
And welcome into Judd's Hockey Show. That was I would guess, a very pleased Dean Evason, Wild coach, talking about his team's 5-2 win against the Islanders, which completes a very successful weekend for the Wild, in which they go to Pittsburgh and get 2 points. They win in a shootout, and then they beat a really good Islanders team tonight at the X. And right now, as we talk, Zolgan, Declan Goff, Judd's Hockey Show, the Wild has played 11 games. They are 8-3. They have 16 points, and they are in first place, 1 point ahead of the St. Louis Blues, who have a game in hand, and 2 points up on the Winnipeg Jets, who have also played 11 games. And Dex, I want to start with this because I'd be curious to get your thoughts. So the Wild did indeed again rally tonight, down 2-1 after 2 periods. So it continues the trend of them coming back to win games after being behind. That being said, tonight felt different to me. Like last night, it was a mad scramble, right? Hartman scores with a second plus left, and they came back, and that's impressive. But tonight, as Dean said at one point in his press conference too, and he's right, this was a really good game. Like, this was a really well played, I thought, fun game. But this didn't feel like you're down and then you have to come back and oh my God. When you play a third period like the Wild did tonight against a good team and you outshoot them 16-2 and score 2 goals, Hartman tied it at 7-17. At 9-18, Duhaime scored to give the Wild a 3-2 lead, and then Brodin and Dumba scored empty net goals. So it's pretty much, in essence, a 1-goal game. But this felt to me, because the third period was so impressive, like it was far from, oh my God, let's come back. We have to come back. And there was just more control tonight. And tonight's win, I was really impressed by.
Well, I think the difficult thing when you're looking at the sustainability of a team that basically was coming into today with a negative goal differential, was having to rally a lot. Is that sustainable from an analytical perspective? No, it's just not. However, this is where you can't get blinded completely by analytics. And this is why the eye test, which, yes, still exists to the hockey analytics crowd out there. And by the way, I'm a defender of analytics. I think they're great for the game. But you have to marry the two together. And what you're seeing over these last half dozen games or so, and honestly for the majority of the season, is there's things that analytically make sense with this team, and there's things with the eye test that also look completely different in a good way for this team. They're night and day different from the old guard, and they have done a phenomenal job over the last 2 years. And some might even say, like, why are we still talking about the old guard? Because it was still there. Even after they traded, the core players of Zucker, Nito, Coyle 2-3 years ago, you still had a Suter laying around. You still had a Parise hanging around. It is now completely gutted. Bill Guerin took a humongous risk, and this could still and is going to bite them financially hard. But it was to clean out that room and have a completely different sense of this is now our team. This is this new group here. Kirill Kaprizov's obviously a superstar. Kevin Fiala is a game breaker, even though he only has 1 goal through the first 11 games. It's now 10 games without a goal, but still is playing very well and playing noticeably well. Kaapo Kahkonen steps in tonight for just his second start after a very shaky first start and gave you a vote of confidence, which is probably my biggest takeaway from this evening's game against the Islanders is Kaapo gave you a vote of confidence for the first time in a while. You can trust him. And this is what we wanted to figure out. I am more on the jury that Kaapo Kahkonen might not be the long-term answer as a sustainable backup goalie for a team that has cup aspirations, but he's young, and I can certainly be proved wrong on that. I've already been proved wrong with Marcus Foligno being the heart and soul and natural goal scorer of this team, which I didn't see coming. Ryan Hartman might be the best damn bargain in the NHL right now with 6 goals at $1.9 million. So yes, there's things that might not be sustainable, from an analytical side, but you can just tell watching this team, it has a different vibe to it. And last thing on it, Judd, because I think it'd be very classic for teams what if in Minnesota sports we were saying, oh, but they play so well for 40 minutes, but then they always collapse in the third. What can they do to always, stop for always collapsing? Well, now that's flipped, right? Like they're getting off to maybe some slow, mediocre starts, and they find ways to win games. That's what you want. The Vikings aren't able to do that, for God's sakes. The Wolves haven't been able to do that for the last week. This team finds ways to win games, and I think it starts with their leadership and that culture in the room. I
agree. And so on Kaapo, I also felt like the team in front of him tonight played a really solid game. Like, I like this game. This game to me was a great game. And when you give up a total of 2 third period shots, that's just impressive. As far as this team structure goes too, here's what intrigues me. Where Bill Guerin talked about this, and I think, and small sample size alert, but right now, Dex, I think he might be right too. This team not only is like a different team, because gone are your selfish, me first, why didn't I get the puck to score? An empty net goal, Jonas Brodin, why would you shoot the puck all the way down the ice when you can pass to me and I can score that goal? That's gone, which is great. The other thing though, Dex, is this team with its young core is really deep. Like, we've talked about the financial hurt that is going to come starting in 2022, 23, and that hurt is going to be a real thing. Salary cap wise, the Parisi and Suter buyouts are going to bite you in the ass, and they will to a certain point. But what Bill Guerin keeps saying is, well, you don't get the fact that we have good depth here, young depth. And when you look at the contributions that this team gets on a nightly basis from different players, and that's what impresses me. If we went back 5 years and you could transplant Fiala and Kaprizov to those teams, right? Their current, especially in Kevin's case, his flat out goal scoring slump. And Kevin Fiala has played some good games here. So I'm not saying he's playing poorly, but he is, as you can tell folks, because you certainly told me in the press box tonight, he is certainly in a drought, right? So ordinarily, like, this would cost them. Like, we would be doing a show saying, how can you get those guys to score? Because it's killing them. Brandon Duhaime is shooting the puck and he's scoring. To your point again, Ryan Hartman. I mean, so the guy's got 6 goals. Tonight when he scored, he looked up at the scoreboard to watch his goal, I think. And then they showed him, and he was peeved. Like, he wasn't pleased. And I think it's because he had missed on some previous opportunities. But the expectation that players on this team, which now goes 4 lines deep, have for themselves bodes really well, as opposed to the old days of Zach Parisi's not scoring. What are they going to do? Right? So the totality of the difference here to me is absolutely huge. You're now operating, and this is going to sound really weird to say, you're now operating with a team, Declan.
Yeah.
You're not operating with, well, if, Kevin Fiala is essentially an independent contractor, and if he's not scoring, they're screwed. You're operating with a team that has line combinations and can juggle things and can get guys who you don't expect much from. I mean, do you remember how long we watched 4th line guys here and basically said, well, they're not going to do much. Of course they're not going to, right? That's changed.
Here's the crazy thing, Judd, because I think, and this happened in the Vegas series, they said, we're going to take away Kirill Kaprizov, and can the rest of the Minnesota Wild beat us? Which, by the way, is a very good strategy, I think. Obviously, Kirill Kaprizov's the most talented player on your team. But so far, and box score-wise, too, and this is where you have to parse things out, Kirill Kaprizov and Kevin Fiala, and mostly the latter, have not been dynamic, have not been beating you solely. And in return, you could say, all right, well, that means we have to worry about what? Guys like Ryan Hartman and Marcus Foligno, a hard worker like Joel Eriksson-Ek? Yeah. And now all of a sudden those guys are getting goals. Now all of a sudden it's, we've taken away Kirill and we've taken away Kevin Fiala's goal scoring ability, But now there's other guys in this team that can score. This Brandon Duhaime guy who no one saw coming and was just not an afterthought, but was not being talked about on as the last guy to make this team, has been very noticeably good in the first dozen games this season. That's I think what is so scary to me. As Hunter, even our YouTube comment section, by the way, if you want daily Minnesota Wild conversations, hit the subscribe button. We'll provide those for you right here on our Score North YouTube channel. He says, once both Fiala and Kaprizov are hot, we will be absolutely incredible. And that is probably a good assumption. But also, Fiala and Kaprizov aren't necessarily scoring goals, but they're doing noticeable things, and yet other players are scoring goals. Ryan Hartman has 6 goals. Marcus Foligno has 5 goals. Eck has 4 goals. The Wild's defense continues to pile up tons of points. I believe they lead the league in points by defensemen as a group this year. The Wild lead the league by the most points from their blue liners. So Kirill and Fiala have been taken away in terms of scoring goals, and the Wild are still finding ways to win games. That I think is also a big takeaway that we aren't really discussing and really didn't see coming.
And as far as I can tell, Declan, nobody's pouting. Nobody's upset. Nobody is trying to say, well, I should get my shots, right? I mean, pass me the damn puck, right? It's just it's so different. And I'm going to give you one player, and he's a very good player to start with, but I'm going to give you one player to me who has benefited mightily from the changes and having a new defensive partner, Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah.
Jared Spurgeon has always done the right things. Like he's always, and it's incredible because he's such a small guy, and to play the position he plays as well and effectively as he does is absolutely, to me, miraculous. But I watch him now with Suter gone, instead playing with Goligoski on a nightly basis. And I see a guy who's so confident now and is so sure of what he can and can't do. That it's and look, it's not like, oh my God, he wasn't that good and now he is. It's the little things that he can do now. But this is where this team is so different. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think that we have the clip, but Dean Evison was asked in his post-game presser tonight specifically about, I believe the question was about, is what you're doing sustainable? Because it goes back to what you've said, which is it's not really. So like, can you continue to come back? Because right now they just do. And Dean, in Dean fashion, answered the question. And then he went on, and I believe it was off of this question that Declan went on and basically talked about the lack of selfishness, the fact that players are selfless, the fact that everybody works hard, and make no mistake, in my opinion, the night they came on the night that you played for the first time here, Zach Parise, and a night after you played against who? Jason Zucker. I don't think it was because Dean didn't have to go there, and Dean did. And look, he's justified. He's 1,000% right. So, shot or not, he was saying the right thing. But when you look at this thing right now and how different it feels, and you know, granted, we are in the room post game, which I would love to see what that feeling is in there. I think it would be incredibly intriguing if we could pass that on to those of you who enjoy Judd's hockey show so much. I would like to pass that information on, but I'm just talking about the feel from watching this team and being around people who are affiliated. Declan, this is what we wanted. This is what everybody wanted. This is the first time that these guys have had an actual team in years and years. And the nice thing is contributions in different ways on a nightly basis come from different places, but it doesn't seem like, well, I got to play with that guy, right? Or I'm not first line, or I'm not starting. All of that for now, knock on wood, seems to have dried up.
Well, Judd, look at the shootout last night. And by the way, I despise shootouts. Like you and I have made that point. 3-on-3 hockey is great. They went last night. Frederick Goudreau was the first person. And even I was like, are you really? Freddie Gaudreau, you're going to start the shootout? Because I even said if Kirill and Fiala aren't the first two bleeping people out on this ice for this damn shootout, which I already hate, if these two guys aren't the first two out, I'm going to lose my mind. So they went Gaudreau, Kirill, and Kirill shootout goal. I mean, oh my God, just like effortlessly. I didn't even know he shot the damn puck. And Jarry never saw it. And then Fiala gets stoned, but then they sent out Nick Bukestad. You overanalyze your shootout tendencies, but I even then looked back on it, and because at first, when I see Gaudreau and Bukestad in a shootout line, I'm like, what the hell? This is how you want to, you're gonna punt here. But then I kind of remembered, and I went back to the old thinking, because Judd, how many times would it have been, well, we'll send out Mikko for that backhand toe drag. We'll send out Eric Stahl, who really can't skate and has no speed and is going to get stoned. You know, it's a change of the guard. It's a change of the times that the Wild trust these other players that can deliver for them. And to me, I have been so sucked into that old Wild mindset of like, well, here comes Koivu, here comes Eric Stahl, here comes the same old shootout guys. When in reality, it's these guys that are being empowered, and it's completely different. It's why Marcus Foligno has an A. It's why I think Matt Dumba has an A and now has a completely different level to his game on the ice as well. It is insane to think that it really took 3 years to change that tune, because you had to shed so much weight and have basically two different GMs coming here, one not being great and one I think who has a really good look at what this team can do, and Bill Guerin, to say that this had to change. And if that meant that we're going to have to eat some dead money on our cap for a long time, we're okay with that.
Yep. And Ryan is gone because of that. And that is why. So like it had nothing with Zach. It's about performance too. Because I mean, we saw it again tonight. He's slow now. I'm sure he can play a role, but I mean, he is a role player, and there's no way that you could have had a smooth transition to calling Zach in and saying, we're not going to buy you out and you're going to play a small role. Good luck. But Ryan Suter was bought out solely because of the fact that the Wild deemed it, and they were right, necessary to change how that room felt. And I've been told from day one of training camp, the difference has been huge. And yeah, Nick Bukestad scoring the winning goal in the shootout is so beautifully different. I mean, it is such an embraceable moment. And you know what? In a year, or I'm sorry, in next game, Dex, who knows? I mean, Jared Spurgeon could score that goal. I don't know. But yeah, they are the reason why the Wild is willing to go through the financial pain here is because of the fact that their best chance to win is to have a team. And they didn't. And in fairness, last year with the changes, they were trending towards that, but they weren't there yet. And this is how you, and it's a long way off. I get that. But Declan, this is how you win in the spring. Like, you don't win in the spring by saying, if Kevin Fiala does not score, we are screwed. If Kirill Kaprizov does not score, you have to know that your opponent is going to focus on your stars. And so can you get secondary scoring from guys? And the only way to count on that is to have them be empowered. The only way to say, you know what, Ryan Hartman, we need you. Well, you can't say that if all year long you've basically been saying you're more of a third or fourth line guy, and guys don't want to play with you because you don't bring the skill set here. And so this is the dynamic here has changed. And tonight's game just impressed me a lot because you were going toe to toe with a really good team, a really disciplined team. In my opinion, one of the better teams probably in this league.
Easily.
And you played a really good game. It's not like you got down, 4-1. It's not like you were imploding. You got down by one goal twice. You came back, and the third period you came out and you played fantastic. So, yeah, this is knock on wood because, we're not exactly a long way into the season. But knock on wood, this is a really impressive game and two games because you did it in different ways, and you got 4 points where previously this team gets like what, 2 points, 1 point, like the old the old guard does not come back last night for sure. And tonight they might come back, but I'm not sure that they do.
Yeah, and these back-to-backs can be tough, and you're I believe now an eighth. I believe my St. Cloud State math. You're an eighth through your season right here. You're coming up on that Thanksgiving break. The Wild have a ton of points. You need to make it all the points you can make right now.
Yep.
And they have back-to-backs on the road this week, obviously, at Arizona, at Vegas. Vegas will be a tough game. You get a couple softies afterwards, and the Kraken and San Jose after that. But then you got the Stars, who are underperforming a bit, but still a decent team. Florida, who you could make a case might be the best team in the NHL. And then the Lightning after that, and you have to absolutely make hay against these teams. And so it's for you to get 4 points. I mean, usually if you take 2 out of 4 on a back-to-back, you'll say, all right, we'll take that any day. 2 out of 4 points coming on a back-to-back, especially a road-to-home back-to-back where you're traveling, that can be awfully tough. And yeah, I agree. I think the Islanders, you can make a serious case, are a top 5 team and have a very good chance to win the whole damn thing this year. If not now, then when? And Matthew Barzal, as you and I were gushing about in the press box, I mean, legit. Maybe obviously Connor McDavid is the most talented player to watch, and he's fun to watch in person too. I would put Barzal right up there in just terms of funness to watch. I mean, the guy flies. He absolutely flies up and down the ice.
Yep.
Anders Lee, the Minnesota boy, has a couple goals tonight too, and you beat a good Islanders team. You beat a very good Islanders team, and I think it says a lot.
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Greenway is going to practice on Tuesday and might be set to come back very soon here. Who do you take out to get him back in?
So, I mean, you can take out Rem Pitlick because Rem Pitlick played 6 minutes tonight, I think, in the entire 3 periods of action.
You can take out Rask as well. He's centered, but he can come out.
This team is playing so well, and I hate to just bail on him because when he's healthy, he should be able to play. And Jordan Greenway's a better player than Rem Pitlick and Victor Rask.
Yeah, but Dex, he comes back right now, 4th line guy, right?
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. You don't elevate him.
Foligno, Fiala, I really like.
Yeah, you don't. Touch
I'm not gonna break those guys up. Fiala to me on that line works his butt off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna break those 3 up. Are you?
No.
No, I think he comes back, but I think unless he comes back and plays great, and that this might be the type of jumping off point that Jordan needs, I think you come back and say, dude, you're back, but you are a 4th line wing until you beat one of the, top 3 guys out or top guys on those top 3 lines. You are a 4th line guy right now.
Yeah, he's a 4th line guy. I mean, you could make an interchangeable case on basically Victor Rask, Rem Pitlick, even Bukestad maybe, but I like what Bukestad's been bringing.
I'm not scratching him. Bukestad and Greenway can be the wings on my 4th line.
Which is why, I think even when he gets healthy here and off the injured reserve and is actually active, you're going to see him potentially be a healthy scratch. This team's playing so well, you had to keep playing him. So no, I think there's a case where he is a healthy scratch here soon. Because I don't know how he really fits into this lineup long term. I've already been kind of out with him for the last year, and I know he led the team in assists last season, but I don't really know how he fits into the plans now.
I'm debating that one because guys get hurt.
Yep.
Like I get your point.
Yep.
I don't disagree with you, but guys get hurt. But I think if you bring him back and say you are a 4th line player, that's gonna irk him, which is awesome, which is good, right?
Sure, you can motivate him.
And so I think that you basically tell him, hey, look, you didn't play great, got hurt, which is unfortunate, and you're gonna play now, but you are going to play 4th line. Now, the good thing now, though, is again, this being a different team, the 4th line guys play like they can. Like if they're playing well, they will play, right? So yeah, my final thought is this too. Just think about this for a second, Dex.
Okay.
If and when Marco Rossi is prepared to play here, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The center position at that point in time is stacking up pretty well.
Yeah.
Eck is good. I mean, he's, I think he's I do not think that he's a number 1 center, but I think that he is certainly productive, and I like him. All right.
Yep.
Goudreau has way more speed than I thought. I don't think his hands work as well. I think he knows exactly what he wants to do, and his speed gets him there quickly. I don't think his hands are great, but he belongs here. Like he is a pro. Sturm to me just continues to improve. I love him. Like, I think that Sturm gets better and better and better.
I like him.
So, but my point is this: when Rossi is set to make the jump, you're going to have a viable case that if Rossi is a top 6 guy, that you could very well have, let's say this, Eriksson Ek, Rossi, Sturm, Goudreau. All of a sudden, that's not too bad.
No, not at all.
And if Rossi becomes the player that we expect, that could be damn good.
And by the way,
and if Sturm, I mean, Sturm could keep going. So, in I don't know, a year plus, it could be Rossi, Sturm, Ek, Goudreau.
Yeah. And Rossi's getting hot, man. In his last 5 games in Iowa here, I mean, he has a point in every game. He has 7 points in 6 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. He's playing well. And he was a high-end prospect that very well could have gone top 5 in the draft, some people said, and he fell all the way to the Wild at number 9. He obviously had his off-the-ice health scare last season, and it kept him off the ice, and now he's in Iowa tearing up points. Yeah, there's no reason to rush him. Let him be in Iowa. Let him flourish there. If there's an injury, like if they lost Ek, because we just talked about depth, and the depth is fine, but it's just like starting pitching. Well, if you lose your ace, now all of a sudden there is a hole to fill in that rotation. There's big shoes to fill, or skates to fill, if you will, down the middle of that team. And Rossi, who's only played now 6 games, in the last year. That's a big ask for someone like that, but you may as well try it. Because I'm not doing Victor Rask, I'll tell you that much.
No.
Elevating him.
I'm just saying that the whole depth thing to me is looking more and more attractive here, and it does help too. And this is the secondary thing that's so important now. You have a farm system.
Yeah,
like with Fletch, you just didn't have it. I mean, Chuck traded everybody, and then they didn't have a thing. And Iowa was terrible, I believe, for a year or two. And now you've got guys that you can call up, and they might not always be household names, but they can contribute. All right, we are done. Judd's Hockey Show. I'm sure back soon because, well,
keep going.
If they continue to play well, they're all we got in this godforsaken sports town.
And it's number one. Totally forgot about daylight savings. Off the topic. I woke up today looking at my stove, and by the way, I forgot. I had to take out the dog, and my phone said 7:30, but the kitchen said 8:30. Oh. And by the way, I had no drinks last night, and I kind of thought, what the hell?
Don't you pay attention? Like they talk about all the time.
I know. I completely forgot. I know. Yep, spring forwards, fall back. Yep, all that stuff. I
love
forgot.
The extra hour.
I forgot, but we got 9 p.m. games. Next 3.
Yeah,
9 p.m. games. So another late night. We'll see.
You love those.
I personally like them.
I hate them. I want to go to sleep.
The good news is, I believe, after the Seattle game on Saturday, or one of these next games, that I think there's only like a very few. They're getting them all out early. Like the majority of these 9 p.m. games are done with already, which is good.
The nice thing is, this team now, fun to watch.
Yeah.
The 9 o'clock starts are really tough when you dump and chase and guys move real slow and you try to get the puck back and then you can't. Right? It's much more fun to watch a team that's fast, exciting, oh my God, and not completely selfish. All right, Dex, say your thing.
All right, man. Pass, shoot, score.